सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्याः स्यूतं नमामि गजाननम् पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् योगिनं विश्वनाथाख्यम् अस्मत्तातस्वरूपिणम् आत्मलाभात् परं लाभम् वक्तारं न कदाचन गीतार्थग्रन्थकर्तारं श्रीगुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मे वाचं धृतिं बुद्धिं प्रचोदयात् ॐ नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च ॐ नमः ॐ Friends, we are going to be doing the 26th session of the Gita regimen for Advaitic living. We are in chapter 4. We have just done that famous shloka Tatvidhi Pranipatena Pariprasnena Sevaya. That shloka we have done. There we have, the Lord has said, that is how you have to learn the jnana from the great people. What is that jnana? Now the rest of the chapter is going to be about jnana. This is a very unusual thing, that in the karma yoga part of Gita, there is so much about the jnana. You will see that. So now we are on shloka number 36. Apichedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah sarvam jnana plavenaiva vajinam santarishyasi. Even if apiched, this shloka says that even if you are the greatest sinner in the world, jnana, the wisdom, the rising of knowledge, that will save you, that will make you cross the samsara ocean. This type of shloka where the Lord says that even if you are the greatest sinner, I will save you, jnana will save you, like that, then nothing bad will happen. There are 2 or 3 times he says that, once here, another time in the 9th chapter, 30th shloka, apichet suduracharo bhajate mamananyabha sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hisaha. Even if he is the greatest sinner, sudurachara, he is now doing all bad things, even then, if he remembers me once, sakrate, I will take care of him, and he should be considered as the among the better, nobler people. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschiti durgatim tatagacchati. 6th chapter. The one who is doing good things, he will never be left alone. He will never be left for himself. I will take care of him. Only good things will happen to him. So he assures this. So like that here, apichedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvebhyah papakrittamaha. All the sinners, he is the greatest sinner. Say, even if he is so, sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi. Everything by the boat of jnana, wisdom, vrijinam santarishyasi, he crosses the samsara ocean. Even if among all the sinners you are the very worst, you will cross the sea of sins. Jnana plava is the thing. In fact, all the sins, not only all the sins, everything done, dharma api iha mumuksho papa uchyate, Shankara in his bhashya. That is, even the dharmas that you have done will be eradicated. There will be nothing more, neither good nor bad. That is what we want for moksha. Remember that. So for a seeker after liberation, even punya is considered as a bondage, is an undesirable, because it causes bondage. Now, the metaphor of crossing the ocean is because, you see, that is why the boat word is used. Jnana plava. The samsara is considered like an ocean, and sin is compared to the ocean, and by the use of the metaphor of the boat, we are able to cross. The question arises, how can action be destroyed even if it is crossed like an ocean. You cross the ocean of samsara, but you say all the actions will be destroyed. Sarvam jnanaplavenaiva vajinam santarishyasi. The actions will be there. One has to reap the fruit of the actions. How is that? That reply comes in the next Lokmihi bhasmasat kurute arjunan. Jnanagnis sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tata. You will see the flow of shlokas here. Everything is towards the propagating, broadcasting the glory of jnana. Jnana is wisdom. Jnanagnis sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tata. Samidhognihi means blazing fire. Blazing fire. Samidha agnihi. Yathaidamsi, pieces of wood. Yatha yadamsi. Yadamsi is pieces of wood. Just as pieces of wood in a flaming fire, if you put it, you see they all go to ashes. Bhasmasat kurute arjuna. The blazing fire converts the pieces of wood to ashes. Like that, jnanagnihi, the fire of wisdom, jnanagnihi, sarvakarmani, all the actions, bhasmasat kurute, it converts, it destroys them to ashes. In fact, there is an Upanishad authority for this. Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarvasamshayaha shiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Mundakopanishad. Vidyate hridaya grantihi tasmin drishte paravare. The moment one realizes, that is, when knowledge arises, the knot, K-N-O-T, the knot of the heart, hridaya grantihi, vidyate, it is unknotted, it is destroyed. Chidyante sarvasamshayaha. You will have thousands of doubts, all the doubts, sarvasamshayaha, chidyante, they will be cleared. Kshiyante cha asya karmani. Asya karmani, his actions, for such a person for whom knowledge has arisen, kshiyante, all the karmas, all the actions are destroyed. Tasmin drishte paravare. This is the famous declaration from Mundakopanishad. It means when that self, which is both the high and the low, you see, tasmin drishte paravare. Para, avara. Para means high. Avara means low. What is the high business? The cause. Cause is the high thing. And the low is the effect. So whether it is the cause or the effect, both is the self. Tasmin drishte paravare. Incidentally, the Upanishad teaches you a great piece of Vedanta. Paravare tasmin. That is both the cause and the effect. When that is seen directly, the knot of the heart, hridaya grantihi, solved, and all one's actions become dissipated. By the way, actions here means all the actions that preceded the rise of illumination, but had not yielded the results so far, as also those actions that accompanied the rise of illumination, but not the actions that produced the present lives. What produced the present lives? The prarabdha. The prarabdha that is not removed, that has to be, experienced. Of course, for more on this, I have already talked about it in the lecture number 24, session number 24 of this, where we have talked about Jnanagni Datta Karmanam, the famous phrase. Jnanagni Datta Karmanam, the fire of wisdom destroys all the actions. There we have discussed it. I think you may want to go back and have a look at it. So, Jnanagni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tata. Just as pieces of wood are reduced to ashes by the Agni, so also the fire of wisdom reduces to ashes all the actions. Yata number 37. We go to 38 now. We are in jnana still. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. There is nothing greater than knowledge. One of the most glorious shlokas of the Gita. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. Jnanena sadrisham, equal to jnana, equal to wisdom, equal to that absolute knowledge. na pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing more purer than that. There is nothing purifying here comparable to knowledge. What is this jnana? Jnana is the light by which we grow into our true being. You see, remember, this is not the knowledge by which actual riches. No. Not the scientific knowledge, not the psychological knowledge, not the philosophic knowledge, not the ethical knowledge, not the aesthetic knowledge, not the worldly knowledge, not the practical knowledge. It is the knowledge by which we grow into our true being. The other knowledge, they are all certainly welcome, but they will help us grow into our becoming, not being, not into our being. So it says, Tat Swayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalena Atmani Vindati. The one who is purified, perfected by yoga, he finds it himself, by himself, in the self, Atmani, in course of time, Kalena. Understand this is a very difficult line, but very important line. Tat Swayam Yoga Samsiddha, Swayam by himself, Yoga Samsiddha, the one who is perfected by yoga, Vindati Kalena Atmani, by himself he understands in the self, Kalena, in due time. It grows within him and he grows into it. As he grows on by increasing, he has to be increasing. How does he rise to that level? He rises to that level by increasing in three things: desirelessness, equality, devotion to the divine. Devotion. Equality means samatvam. Remember samatvam yoga uchyate in the second chapter, and there we had the beautiful phrase yoga karmasu kaushalam. Shankara Bhashya, he has explained how it is Ishwara pitachetaha sahitaha. One has to have devotion to the divine. It is not there in the Gita, to it in the 7th and 8th chapters. So, equality, samatvam, samadukhe sukadukhe samekatva, samam sarveshu bhuteshu. This is the samatvam that has been talked about both in the 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter. So, desirelessness, samatvam, equality, and devotion to the divine. These three has to be there. By this is what is mean by yoga samsiddha. He perfects himself by yoga. Now, nahi jnanayana sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. Why is jnanam so purifying? What is so great about it? Yes, because whatever is different from this knowledge, this absolute knowledge, it cannot dispel ignorance, ajnana. So it does not have the power of totally eradicating by getting other knowledge. Sin certainly recurs because the cause is present. The cause is ignorance, ajnana. So long as the ajnana is there, you will be committing more and more sins. But by knowledge, sin is eradicated together with its root. Not only the sin is eradicated, the ignorance, ajnana, is also eradicated. So by the destruction of ignorance, you see, knowledge becomes, that is why knowledge becomes great. There is nothing comparable to it. Question: why does not knowledge arise in the self for all quickly? The self is there for all of us. Why does not knowledge arise quickly? Yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. Now we are going to have a slightly different meaning of that yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. Yoga samsiddha kalena. One who has become perfect after a long time through yoga. He has perfected himself in the yoga for a long time. Long time. Yoga samsiddha. There we said kalena vindati, in due course, or kalena with vindati. There are two different meanings. Anyway, one who has become purified, attained the fitness through the yoga of action, he acquires that knowledge. Kalena atmani vindati. Atmani. This atmani is important because it emphasizes that knowledge does not come from outside. Atmani, in the self. So that Atmani emphasizes that the knowledge arises in one's own heart. What is the most important thing that is necessary for this arising of knowledge? Faith. Shraddha. That is the next sloka. This Shraddha is more important than, Tadvidhit Pranipatena Pariprasnena Sevaya. He said, Pranipata Namaskar, Pariprasna by questioning, Sevaya by service. He said, by these things one goes to great people and learn. But what is more important than all of them is Shraddha. Shraddha, sloka number 39. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tapparas samyatendriyam jnanam labdhva param shantim ajirena digacchati. Faith is necessary. Shraddha is faith. But it is not blind belief. It is the aspiration of the soul to gain knowledge. Tatparaha, the supreme reality. Tatparaha, the conscious, by conscious being that is always fixed, rooted to, anchored to that supreme reality. Samyatendriyaha also. Samyatendriyaha, one who has samyata indriyaha, controlled, one who has conquered and controlled not only the mind, the senses and the mind. Samyata indriyaha. So three conditions are necessary for this rise of knowledge. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparas samyatendriyaha. Who gets that jnanam labate? Shraddhavan tatparaha samyatendriyaha. Three conditions. And I already told you jnana is different from intellectual knowledge, because intellectual knowledge depends only on sense data and logical inference, right? Or physics, you get more and more questions. If you keep on pursuing your logic, you will get more and more questions, that is all. Doubt and skepticism naturally have a place in the ordinary intellectual knowledge, because the intellect always has to raise questions. Just as the lamp dispels darkness through its mere presence without any external aid, there is a light, there is no other equipment necessary for it to dispel that light. Light is light. So also, knowledge eradicates ignorance by its mere emergence. The moment knowledge emerges, ignorance is eradicated. In regard to this, no doubt should be entertained. That is why it says, Jnanam labdhva param shantim ajirena adigacchati. And the next sloka explains why that Shraddha is again important, and there should be no doubt about it. There should be no samshaya. Ajnascha shraddhananascha, 40th shloka number. Ajnascha shraddhananascha samshayatma vinashyati. Samshayatma vinashyati. Samshayatma vinashyati. The one who has a doubting mind, he perishes. Ajnascha, one who is ignorant. Ashraddhananascha, one who is faithless, ignorant, faithless, and has a doubting mind. Samshayatma. Ashraddhananaha, faithlessness. What do you mean faithlessness? The teaching of the Guru, the teaching of the scriptures, one feels, this cannot be so. Right? Samshayatma vinashyati. The doubts usually come, this may or may not be so. Ashraddhananaha means this cannot be so. That is the erroneous notion. Such a person perishes. He becomes deprived of his own goal. Sloka, look at the sloka carefully. Ajnascha ashraddhananascha. There is a Ajnascha ashraddhananascha. Two chas. Why two ends are stated there? Because they are lesser shortcomings than the Samshayatma. See, three things are mentioned. Ajna, ignorant, Ashraddhananaha, faithless, and Samshayatma, doubting mind. Here the ignorant and the faithless, that is not as bad as the samshayatma. The doubting mind is the worst kind. That is why the ajnascha and ashraddhadhanascha cha is the Nayam lokosti naparaha, second line of shloka number 40. Nayam lokosti naparaha nasukam samshayatmanaha. Either this world or the other world or happiness, none of these will accrue to a doubting mind. How is that? The other world, the human world, and the happiness arising out of eating and experiencing, etc. There are three things: the other world, the human world, and the happiness arising here out of our experience. These three, all of which are missed by the doubting mind, samshayatma. Right? All of which ignorant or the faithless, the other world does not exist. But this human world and the happiness that arises out of eating and experiencing, they are there for the ignorant and the faithless people. It beautifully compares and contrasts the ignorant, the faithless, and the doubting mind. Doubting mind is the worst kind, because for him, either this world or the other world or the happiness that arises out of the experience, all three are denied to him. Not so for the ignorant and the faithless. Anyway, ajna, that is why the cha and is used there in the first line. Ajnascha ashraddhadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati. Na ayam lokaha asti. This world is not there. Na paraha, the other world is not there. Na sukham, not the happiness, no happiness arising out of experience. Samshayatmanaha, for the doubting mind. And therefore he concludes, beautiful conclusion. Yoga 5-star shloka, next shloka. Sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadhanti dhananjayam yoga sanyasta karmanam. One who has dedicated all his actions. Sanyasta, he has dedicated, renounced all actions to God through yoga. Of course, this is the first meaning. I am going to tell you a second meaning a little later. One by whom actions have been renounced through yoga. Actions are sanyasta. Here sanyasta, nyasta means put it in the proper place. What is the proper place? The Lord, right? The proper place. So, yoga sanyasta karmanam. One who has dedicated all his actions to God through yoga. What is yoga? Yoga consists of the attitude of equanimity, samatvam, yoga of God, Shankara Bhashya. You see, in 50th shloka of second chapter, Shankara writes beautifully, this has to be got by heart. Karmasu, I am reading the original Bhashya now. Karmasu kaushalam, swadharmatyeshu karmasu, vartamanasya, ya siddhya siddhyoho, samabuddhihi, ishwararpita chetaha, taya tat kaushalam. In the performance of works of one's duty, with the mind dedicated to God, Shankara interpolates that, Krishna's word. By that skill, works that bind cease to do so. Tadhi kaushalam, yati bandhasvabhavani api karmani samatva buddhya svabhavat nivartate. Usually actions bind, right? Actions bind. But because of this Ishvara Pita Chetaha Samabuddhihi, by the equanimity and in the doing of these actions, that Samatva Buddhya, Swabhavate, this bondage, the habit of bondage, the natural tendency to bind by those actions, that is removed. That is why it is called Kaushalam, skill. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is the best, it says. So skill, that skill, kaushalam, is maintaining the evenness of mind in success and failure, in the performance of works as one's duty, with the mind dedicated to God. By that skill, works that usually bind cease to do so, due to the intelligence of evenness. Of course, I have already told you, yoga sanyasta karmanam also means all the actions have been renounced through yoga. Yoga is realization of truth. Question: how can one have realization, renunciation of actions when there is doubt? If one is keeping on doubting, how can he have renunciation of actions? That is why the shloka says, Jnana sanchinna samshayam. So yoga sanyasta karmanam. By yoga one has renounced all the actions, but his doubts have all been removed by knowledge, right? Jnana sanchinna samshayam. Not only that, his doubts have been dispelled by knowledge, but if you are not careful, if you are inadvertent, what do you mean inadvertence? By being under the sway of objects of the world, he is learning, he has got the knowledge, he has got so many things, but he is still attached to the objects of the world. That is not control. So that is carelessness. So atmavantam, look at the shloka there. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani. Atmavantam, one who is alert, inadvertent, na karmani nibadranti. The actions do not bind. As you see, the whole of the 4th chapter tell you when actions will not bind, how you can be doing the action, shariram kevalam karma, for the maintenance of the body, and be unaffected by the bondage of the actions. So that what do you call it? When you do the actions, you are actionlessness. You have the property of actionlessness. This is the major undercurrent in the Gita throughout, and it starts in the 4th chapter. That is why the Lord says, I have created the whole world, I have created this, that, everything, but nothing will touch me, he says. So he has to be inadvertent. For such a person, na nibadhanti, karmani na nibadhanti. And that takes us to the last shloka of the 5th chapter, tasmat. Therefore, I have told you, whenever there is this tasmat beginning, that is a conclusion. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hristam jnana sitta bharatam. Arising from ignorance, ajnana sambhutam. Ignorance is non-discrimination. Right? Viveka is not there. Hristam jnana sinatmanah. Hristam, residing in the heart, intellect. Ch.4, since, remember, it arises in the heart, it arises because of ignorance, that is the source. And where does it arise? In the heart. So the source and abode of the enemy are described. That is why it is easy to conquer. Samshaya is the root of all evils. Chitvainam samshayam yogam. This samshaya, this doubt, you eradicate. Atishta, arise. Uttishta, yogam atishta. Practice the yoga. That is how the chapter 4 ends. We will have a recap of chapter 4 and a kind of a summary, bring for ourselves a summary of the chapter 4. What is chapter 4? In the first few shlokas, he taught about Avatara Rahasya. Right? Avatara Rahasya Parichranaya Sadhunam Vinashayita Dushkritam. That is easily understood. Then, after the Kanchanta Kammanam Siddhim Yasanta Ihadevatam, then after that, he started the Chaturvanyam Maya Sishtam Tasya Kartaram Abhimam Vidya Kartaram Abhimam. I am the doer there, and he went on talking about that. And later, he talked about the yajnas of different kind, right? For several yajnas. Bahuvida yajnaha vitata brahmano mukhe. But of course, he added a rider, karmajan vidyitan sarvane. All of them are related to or dependent on karma, action, associated with karma. Remember that. Then only you will be absolved, he says. And therefore he says, you go to this jnana. So the last part of is the Gita, the jnana. So this is the general summary of chapter. But the most important thing that we have to note is shloka numbers, chapter 4, 18 to 24. 7 shlokas. These 7 shlokas, you see, I have called the whole series Gita Regimen for Advaitic Living. I have told you the Gita regimen, how it tells you what to do at various times. But here comes, in 18 to 24, the regimen is completely one by one, step 1, step 2, step 3, like that, it is prescribed. So let us have a recap of that. So he starts with there, Karmanya karma yah pashyet, aisya sarve samarambaha, kama sankalpa varjitaha. You see, these 7 shlokas, 18 to 24, these 7 shlokas tell you not only a Gita regimen for Advaitic living, it does so many other things. The 5 teachings of the Gita, do you remember? 5 teachings of the Gita I told you long ago, right in the beginning of the first lecture. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Brahma Bhava, Indriya Nigraham, Yoga or Yoga Sadhana, Sharanagati. 5 great things. These are, anyway, any shloka you take, it will fall in one or more of these things. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Brahma Bhava, Samatva, Brahma Bhava, Indriya Nigraham or Yoga Sadhana, Sharanagati. 5 things. I will tell you how these 6 shlokas tell you that. Also, there are 4 signs of Jivan Mukta. Knowledge. What is the knowledge? Karmanya karmaya pashyet. See in action, in action. We have explained it quite a lot. Only you have to get the we are only summarizing now. So, one who can see in action, that the real thing, the reality is not acting, something else is acting. So, when you see action, right, you see the inaction of the reality, knowledge. We have given various examples. I think you are well advised to go back to those examples. So that is knowledge. Then I'm looking at shloka number 18 to 24. 18 karmanya karmaya pashyet. Now 19 and 20 kama sankalpa varjita. Actions that are devoid of kama and sankalpa, desire and decision, determination to do things. So varjita tyaktva karma phala sangam nityatrapto nirashraya karma phala sangam, desirelessness, right? The desireless for the fruits of the actions, no attachment to the fruit of the act, karma phala asangam tyaktva. So these 2 talk about desirelessness. So 2 things about the Jivan Mukta, signs of Jivan Mukta. And the 3rd thing, Nirashiryata Chittatma Chatta Sarva Parigraha Shariram Kevalam Karma. For the maintenance of the body alone you are doing actions, which means you are not doing actions for any of the fruit of the actions. You are not doing actions for yourself. So the impersonality in doing actions. This is the 3rd quality of a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta does action. He is only for the maintenance of the body. A Jadabarada walks, goes here, goes there, he lies down, he sleeps, he does that. Maintenance of the body. So, those Jadabarada's actions, that is the Shariram Kevalam Karma. That is the action only for the maintenance of the body. That is the Yadrichhalava Santushto Dundvatito Vimatsara. Shloka number 22. Samassiddhava Siddhaucha. Equanimity in success and failure. Equanimity. So 4 signs of a Jivan Mukta. Knowledge, desirelessness, impersonality, equanimity. These 4. Come back to the other point I said. 5 teachings of the Gita. 5 teachings of the Gita. Shloka number 18, Karmanya karmaya pashyet karmanicha karmaya sabuddhiman. How to do your actions? Karmani akarma, akarmani karma. Sayuktaha Krishna karma. He is the one who is supposed to be doing all the actions properly, who knows all the actions. So that is karma yoga, right? Karma Yoga summary. It is the karma summary of the entire Karma Yoga is there in that one shloka, 18. And then 19. Yasya sarve samarambhah jnanagnidatta karmanam. So that consumes every action, all the actions. This is the Brahma Bhava. Once you know that fire of wisdom consumes all the actions, then everything is equal for you. This is the Brahma Bhava, Jnanagni. So Brahma Bhava comes in that shloka. Next shloka, 20. Tyaktva karma phala sangam nityadrupto nirashrayagam karmanyabhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti sagam. By throwing away all the attachment to all the actions, Nityasaptaha, always satisfied, not dependent on anything. Karmani abhipravrittopi, even if one is engaged in action, he is not doing any action. This means he has controlled the indriya and his senses and the mind so perfectly. Tyaktva karma phala sangam. This is the indriya nigraha. So the Karma Yoga has come in the first shloka 18, Brahma Bhava has come in shloka 19, Indriya Nigraham has come in shloka number 20. Look at 21. Tyakta sarva parigraha. All the parigraha has to be renounced. This is the renouncing thing, Sharanagati. Shariram kevalam, maintenance of the body. You have renounced everything. Tyakta sarva parigraha. This is the Sharanagati of the Gita. And then comes Bhakti Yoga. Yadrichhala basantushto. There it is there. In the word Yadricha. I have told you about Yadricha. Yati Icha, Yataha Icha. By the Icha of that absolute personality, of the ultimate personality, Yataha Icha, Yadricha. So that gives, so that means anything that comes to you, that happens to you, that is before you, that haunts you, that invades you, that occupies you, this is all God's will. Yadricha. So Karma Yoga in 18, Brahma Bhava in number 19, Indriya Nigraham or Yoga Sadhana in number 20, 21 Sharanagati and 22 Bhakti Yoga. And all this is summarized in that Brahma Arpanam shloka, and that is how the chapter 4 has taken care in. That is why I consider this shlokas number 18 to 24 as the real essence of the entire Gita and also the regimen. It tells you exactly what to do at every point. Tyaktva karma phala sangam nityatruptaha nirashrayaha karmanya abhipravrittopi. You are not involved in any action. Some do the actions only for the maintenance of the body. Nirashi, desireless. Tyakta sarva parigraha. Not even the thought of possession, parigraha, thought of possession. And do the actions, but remember, you are not doing any action. The reality, the Atma within you is not doing any action. That is shloka number 18. And yajnaya charata karma. By this way, one who does the action, samagram praviliyate. Everything is consumed by that jnana-agni. This is the Advaitic regimen. I am not sure what the other Visishtadvaita people and Dvaita people will consider this kind of these shlokas. For me, the Advaita pure and simple is right here. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell you all these things. Swasti prajabhyat paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisho go brahmanabhya shivanastu nityam lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu.